Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to HK Cheating Stories. We appreciate each and every one of you joining us. Where in the world are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Now, let's get the story started. My name is Sophie, and I thought I had life all figured out. I had a devoted husband, a stable home, and a future that seemed secure. But security bored me. Love felt predictable, and when my best friend whispered dangerous ideas in my ear, I started to wonder, what if I could have more? What if I could reshape my marriage on my terms? I thought Ethan would never leave me, that no matter what, he would stay. I was wrong. The night I told him I wanted an open marriage, I thought I was setting myself free. I had no idea I was about to lose everything. I sat on the couch, swirling the wine in my glass, watching the deep red liquid coat the sides before settling again. The house was silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Ethan was still at work. I had about an hour before he came home. My fingers tapped anxiously against the glass as I waited for Mia's call. When the phone finally buzzed, I snatched it up, my heart pounding in my chest. "Hey, girl." Mia's voice was smooth, confident. "You ready for tonight?" I took a slow breath, trying to steady myself. "Yeah, I think so." "Good," she said. "You just have to remember what we talked about. Stay calm, stay firm, and don't let him guilt trip you. This is for your happiness, Sophie. If Ethan truly loves you, he'll accept it." I bit my lip, staring at my reflection in the darkened TV screen. My stomach churned with nervous energy. "I know, Mia, but what if he gets really angry? Ethan isn't the type to just roll over and accept something like this." Mia laughed, a low, knowing chuckle. "Sophie, trust me. He loves you too much to walk away. He might yell, maybe even storm out for a bit, but in the end, he'll come back. Men like him always do. They need us more than we need them." I swallowed hard. "It's just a big change." "Change is good," she said smoothly. "Look at me and Harold. He used to be just like Ethan, loyal, traditional, a little stubborn. But now, he does everything I ask. I perfected this system, Sophie. He even stands next to the bed when I'm with other men. And he thanks me for the privilege." I felt my cheeks flush. The thought of Ethan ever being like that seemed impossible. He was strong-willed, independent. But then again, so was Harold once. "You really think Ethan will come around?" I asked hesitantly. "I don't think, sweetheart." "I know," Mia said. "He loves you, right? He'd do anything to keep you. Then he'll adjust. At first, it'll be hard for him to process, but once he sees how happy it makes you, he'll want to be part of it. Maybe not the way you expect, but trust me, he won't leave." I leaned back against the couch, exhaling slowly. "I hope you're right, Mia." "You doubt me," she teased. "It took me 2 failed marriages to figure this out, but I perfected it on the 3rd try. You've seen how Harold treats me. He adores me. And soon, Ethan will be just as devoted to you. Maybe even more." My fingers tightened around the wine glass. I pictured Ethan coming home, his tired smile as he walked through the door, the way he kissed me on the forehead before setting his keys on the counter. He was good to me. Almost too good. Would he really let me do this? "You just have to rip the bandage off, Sophie," Mia continued. "Tell him after dinner. Be direct, be confident. Hand him a beer, sit him down, and tell him this is how it's going to be. If he loves you, he won't leave. Simple as that." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Okay, tonight, after dinner." "That's my girl," Mia purred. "And remember, if he throws a tantrum, let him. Stay calm. Stay firm. He'll come around, just like they all do." I wasn't so sure about that, but I wanted to believe her. As I ended the call, I sat there for a long time, staring into the dark red depths of my wine glass, trying to quiet the growing unease in my chest. This was the right thing to do. It had to be. And yet, why did I feel like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, about to jump into something I could never take back? Dinner was almost ready. The rich aroma of roasted chicken filled the air, mixing with the buttery scent of mashed potatoes. It was Ethan's favorite meal. I had made sure of that. If tonight was going to go the way I wanted, I needed him in a good mood. As I set the table, my hands trembled slightly. I told myself it was just nerves, that it was natural to feel this way before a big conversation. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. Mia's voice echoed in my head. "Stay calm. Stay firm. He'll come around." The front door opened, and I heard Ethan's heavy footsteps as he stepped inside. The familiar sound of his keys dropping onto the counter made my stomach twist. "Hey, babe," he called, his voice warm and and familiar. Something smells amazing. I turned, forcing a smile. It's your favorite. Thought I'd treat you tonight. Ethan grinned, crossing the room to press a kiss to my forehead. His touch was gentle, affectionate, the way it always was. Guilt curled inside me, but I shoved it down. We sat at the table, and the conversation flowed easily. Ethan told me about his day, something about an issue at work that he had to fix, how his boss kept piling more responsibilities onto him. I nodded and laughed in the right places, pretending that everything was normal. But my mind was somewhere else, replaying the speech I had rehearsed over and over. This is what I want. This is what will make me happy. If you love me, you'll understand. My pulse pounded in my ears as I pushed my plate away and reached for my wine. My throat felt dry despite the drink. I needed to do this now before I lost my nerve. I set my glass down carefully and looked at Ethan. Ethan, we need to talk, I said, my voice softer than I intended. His fork paused halfway to his mouth. He set it down slowly, his expression shifting into something cautious. All right, what's on your mind? I took a breath, my fingers tightening around my glass. I need you to listen with an open mind, okay? This might be hard to hear. Ethan leaned back slightly, his eyes never leaving mine. Okay, I exhaled, steadying myself. I've been thinking a lot about our future. About us, about having kids, about everything we've planned. His brow furrowed, but he nodded. All right. I swallowed hard. I want that, Ethan. I do. But before I settle down completely, there's something I need to do first. A flicker of confusion crossed his face. What do you mean? I forced myself to hold his gaze. I need to explore a little. Experience more before I commit fully to being a wife and mother. The room went silent. Ethan didn't speak, didn't move. His expression didn't change immediately, but I could see something shift in his eyes. What exactly are you saying, Sophie? His voice was quiet. Too quiet. I swallowed again. I want to see other men. Just for a little while. It's temporary. Then I'll come back to you, and we can have the life we always talked about. Ethan stared at me, his face unreadable. For a long moment, I thought he hadn't heard me. But then he exhaled slowly and shook his head, a humorless chuckle escaping his lips. You're serious? Yes. I straightened my shoulders. I love you, Ethan. This isn't about me not loving you. It's just something I need to do for myself before I can fully commit to our future. He nodded slowly, his fingers tapping against the table. So let me get this straight. You want to sleep with other men while still being my wife? I hesitated. Yes. But, and then, after you've had your fun, you'll come back and expect me to just pick up where we left off? Like nothing happened. It's not like that, I said quickly. This is just a phase. It's about me needing to be sure of what I want before. Ethan let out a sharp breath, shaking his head again. Wow. I clenched my hands together. Mia says. His head snapped up. Mia? I hesitated, realizing my mistake. His jaw tightened. This is Mia's idea, isn't it? I felt my stomach twist. She just helped me see things differently. Ethan let out another humorless chuckle, rubbing a hand over his face. When he finally looked at me again, his expression was unreadable. You've already made up your mind, haven't you? I hesitated. I want you to support me in this. He exhaled, shaking his head. Wow, he repeated. You know, I always thought we were in this together. That we were a team. But I guess I was wrong. A pang of guilt stabbed through me, but I forced myself to stay firm. I still love you, Ethan. That hasn't changed. He leaned back in his chair, watching me for a long, silent moment. Well, he said finally, his voice oddly calm. You're a grown woman. I won't stop you. Relief flooded through me. Ethan, But let's be clear, he cut in, his eyes cold now. I don't approve of this. I don't agree to it. And if you think I'm just going to sit around and wait while you sleep with other men, you're wrong. I stiffened. What do you mean? Ethan stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. You'll see soon enough. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving his half-eaten dinner behind. My heart pounded as I stared after him. He had taken it better than I expected. No yelling, no rage. Mia was right. He would come around. He just needed time. Didn't he? I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the straps of my red cocktail dress. It clung perfectly to my curves, the same dress Ethan had bought me for our 5th anniversary. I had only worn it once back then, and tonight, I decided it was time to bring it back. The thought of Ethan watching me in this dress used to excite me. But tonight, it wasn't for him. I turned, slipping into my black stilettos. My reflection stared back at me, lips painted deep red, hair styled in soft waves. I looked dangerous, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. My phone buzzed. It was Mia. "You ready?" she asked. I took one last look at myself in the mirror. "Yeah, I'll be out in 5. Ethan was in the living room when I walked out. He had barely spoken to me since dinner. He sat on the couch, eyes fixed on the newspaper in his hands, his jaw tight. I cleared my throat. "I'm heading out. I'll be back late." He didn't look up. Noted. I hesitated, waiting for him to say something, anything. Maybe to ask me not to go, maybe to fight for me. But he just turned the page of his newspaper, as if I wasn't even there. Disappointment clawed at my chest, but I shoved it down. Mia was right. He would come around. I grabbed my clutch and walked out the door, feeling the cool night air against my skin. The club was alive with flashing lights and pounding bass. The scent of perfume and alcohol filled the air as bodies moved together on the dance floor. I felt the electricity of the night coursing through me, the anticipation of something new, something thrilling. Mia handed me a drink as we slid into a booth near the bar. "Relax, babe. You look incredible." I smiled, taking a sip. "I feel incredible." She leaned closer, her lips curving into a smirk. "Ryan and Lucas are meeting us tonight. They're both interested in you." I swallowed the rest of my drink, feeling the liquid burn down my throat. "Good." Mia's eyes sparkled. "That's my girl." Minutes later, Ryan and Lucas arrived. Both were attractive, confident, the kind of men who knew exactly what they wanted. Ryan had sharp features and a cocky grin, while Lucas had an easy charm and piercing blue eyes. Well, Ryan said, sliding into the booth beside me. Mia didn't lie. "You're stunning." I felt a thrill at his words, at the attention. It had been a long time since another man had looked at me like that, since someone had seen me as something more than just a wife. I smiled, leaning in slightly. "I hope I don't disappoint." Lucas chuckled. "Oh, I doubt that." The drinks kept coming. The conversation flowed effortlessly. Mia whispered teasing comments in my ear, nudging me toward them. I could feel the heat between us, the unspoken understanding of where the night was headed. Mia was right. This was exhilarating. Ethan had no idea what he was missing. As the night went on, I danced with both of them. Ryan's hands were firm on my waist as he pulled me close, his breath warm against my neck. Lucas was just as bold, his grip possessive as we moved together to the slow, pulsing rhythm. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about Ethan. I wasn't thinking about anything but the rush. Mia pulled me aside at one point, her eyes shining with excitement. "So, who's coming home with you tonight?" I bit my lip, glancing back at them. Both men were watching me, waiting. "Ryan," I decided. Mia grinned. "Good choice. He's talented." I laughed, feeling giddy, powerful. I figured. She leaned in closer. "You think Ethan's still awake?" I shrugged. "Probably." Her smile turned wicked. "Good. Let him wait for you and wonder." A thrill shot through me at the thought. I was in control now. I led Ryan into the house, my heart racing. The house was dark. Ethan must have gone to bed. Good. I didn't need him watching me. I took Ryan's hand and pulled him toward the bedroom, pushing the thought of my husband out of my mind. Tonight was mine. I would deal with Ethan later. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting warm streaks across the bed. I stretched lazily, my body still tingling from the night before. Ryan had already left. He had somewhere to be early this morning, but that was fine. I wasn't looking for breakfast and cuddles. I rolled over, expecting to hear the faint sounds of Ethan moving around the house. The clinking of dishes, the low hum of the coffee maker. Silence. Frowning, I sat up, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Ethan was usually up by now. Even on weekends, he stuck to his routine. It was past 9. He should have made coffee by now. I slid out of bed, slipping on my robe as I padded into the hallway. The house was eerily still. No signs of Ethan anywhere. A flicker of unease crawled up my spine. Maybe he was just out running errands. Or maybe he had gone for a drive to clear his head. After all, last night couldn't have been easy for him. But then I stepped into the kitchen. His favorite coffee mug wasn't on the counter. The keys to his truck, which he always left in the bowl by the door, were missing. My pulse quickened. I walked to the spare bedroom, my fingers tightening around the doorknob before I pushed it open. The room was empty. Not just unoccupied. Empty. The closet door stood wide open, revealing nothing but dust. The dresser drawers were pulled out, completely bare. The bed untouched. My breath caught in my throat. I turned, heart hammering now, and rushed to our bedroom. My bedroom now, I supposed. The realization hit like a slap. His side of the closet? Empty. His tools? Gone. His boots by the front door? Disappeared. I felt dizzy, gripping the door frame to steady myself. Ethan hadn't just moved to the spare room. He had left. Completely. My stomach clenched as I sprinted back to the kitchen, grabbing my phone off the counter. My hands trembled as I dialed Ethan's number. Straight to voicemail. I redialed. Same thing. I tried texting. The message delivered instantly, but there was no response. Panic began to take root, squeezing my lungs. I called Mia. She answered on the second ring, her voice still groggy. Ugh, Sophie, do you have any idea what time it is? He's gone, I blurted out. There was a pause. What? Ethan, I said, pacing the kitchen. He's not here. He's not in the house. His stuff is gone, Mia. Another pause, then a short laugh. Oh, Sophie, calm down. He's just trying to scare you. He probably packed a bag and went to a friend's place for a night or two. It's a tantrum, that's all. He'll be back once he realizes he has nowhere else to go. I swallowed hard. You didn't see it. He didn't just pack a bag. He moved out, Mia. His clothes, his tools, everything. His truck is gone. Now Mia was fully awake. Wait, he didn't tell you where he was going? No. My voice cracked slightly. He never said a word. I thought. I swallowed, feeling suddenly foolish. I thought he would stay and adjust. Mia sighed, but I could hear the slight edge of irritation in her voice. Look, this is good, actually. You can use this. Let him sit in his pride for a few days. When he comes crawling back, you'll have the upper hand. He'll be desperate to prove himself. You can make him beg. I closed my eyes, trying to let her words soothe me. But something in my gut told me this wasn't like that. Ethan wasn't the type to play games. He wasn't the kind of man to storm out in anger just to come back groveling. If he left, he meant it. I need to find him, I whispered. No, Mia snapped. You do nothing. If you chase him now, you lose control. He needs to realize that leaving you is the worst mistake of his life. Give it time. I bit my lip, gripping the phone tighter. Mia made it sound so simple. So easy. But it didn't feel easy. It felt like something had slipped through my fingers, something I hadn't realized was fragile until it was gone. I hung up and stood in the silent house, my mind racing. Ethan had left me. And for the first time since this all started, I wasn't sure if I had won, or if I had lost everything. The office was buzzing with the usual Monday morning energy. Phones ringing, keyboards clacking, the hum of conversations mixing with the hiss of the coffee machine. But none of it registered in my mind. I sat at my desk, staring blankly at my computer screen, my stomach tied in knots. Ethan hadn't called, hadn't texted, hadn't come back. I had spent the entire weekend trying to reach him. His phone went straight to voicemail. His email? No response. Every mutual friend I reached out to either ignored me or claimed they didn't know anything. But I knew they were lying. Someone had to know where he was. And yet, no one was talking. Mia's words echoed in my head. Let him come crawling back. Don't chase him. He'll realize he has nowhere to go. But what if she was wrong? What if Ethan wasn't coming back at all? My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of my name. Sophie Taylor? I looked up, blinking in confusion. A woman in a crisp gray suit stood in front of my desk, her expression unreadable. She held a stack of envelopes in her hand. Beside me, Mia, who was casually scrolling through her phone, finally glanced up. Yeah? Who's asking? The woman's lips curled into a polite but firm smile. Are you Sophie Taylor? And is this Mia Carter? I exchanged a quick glance with Mia before nodding. Yes, that's us. She flipped through the envelopes and pulled out two, handing one to each of us. I hesitated before taking it, a strange sense of foreboding settling in my chest. From across the room, I heard two familiar names being called. Ryan. Lucas. I turned just in time to see them both receiving envelopes as well. Before I could ask what was happening, the woman pulled out a small digital camera and quickly snapped a photo of all of us. What the hell? Mia snapped, shielding her face. The woman smiled again, utterly unfazed. You've been served. And just like that, she turned and walked off, heading straight for our boss's office. A heavy silence settled over our little group. I looked down at the envelope in my hands. My name was printed neatly across the front. My fingers trembled as I ripped it open, my breath catching the second my eyes landed on the words inside. Petition for divorce. My heart stopped. I barely registered the sound of Mia's sharp intake of breath beside me, or the way Ryan cursed under his breath. Divorce. Ethan had actually filed for divorce. I scanned the document, my vision blurring as I absorbed the details. Irreconcilable differences. Infidelity. Adultery. He had evidence. Cold sweat prickled my skin as I turned to Mia, who was gripping her own envelope, her lips pressed into a thin line. This is just a scare tactic, right? I whispered, my voice barely audible. He's trying to get a reaction out of me. Mia said nothing. A second later, Ryan's phone rang. Then Lucas's. I watched as they answered almost simultaneously, their faces darkening with every word spoken on the other end of the line. Wait, what? Ryan muttered, his grip tightening on his phone. Lucas rubbed a hand down his face. She has pictures? Videos. The pieces started clicking together in my mind, but I didn't want to believe it. Ethan hadn't just left. He had been planning this, gathering proof. He hadn't stormed out in a fit of emotion. He had executed a calculated, methodical escape, and he had made sure I would pay for it. Before I could fully process it, my boss's office door swung open violently. His voice boomed across the room, freezing every single person in the department. Taylor, Carter, Adams, Mitchell, my office. Now, my stomach dropped. I met Mia's gaze, and for the first time, I saw something in her eyes that I had never seen before. Fear. I rose to my feet in a daze, following the others into the office. The door slammed shut behind us, and my boss, a usually composed man, stood behind his desk, his face red with barely contained rage. He threw a thick manila folder onto the desk. It landed with a loud thud, the contents spilling slightly. Photos, videos, screenshots of messages. My blood turned to ice. What the hell is this? My boss growled, his glare piercing through me. None of us spoke. I'll tell you what it is, he continued, his voice shaking with anger. It's a goddamn lawsuit against the company because of you four. Apparently, certain employees have been engaging in inappropriate activities on company property. And now, thanks to this, we are being sued for failing to uphold our moral code of conduct. I felt like I was going to be sick. Ryan shifted beside me. Sir, we don't. Our boss snapped, holding up a hand. Don't even try to deny it. There's enough evidence in this file to bury all of you. Mia finally spoke, her voice laced with irritation. So what happens now? Our boss let out a slow breath, his expression dark. Due to legal restrictions, I can't fire you. Yet. But make no mistake, once this lawsuit is settled, you're all done here. The air in the room felt suffocating. I had gone from feeling powerful and in control to watching my entire life crumble before my eyes. My marriage was over. My career was hanging by a thread. And Ethan? He was gone, leaving nothing but devastation in his wake. I had thought I was the one making the moves in this game, but Ethan had been playing me all along. I walked out of my boss's office in a daze, my mind spinning as if I had been hit by a truck. My legs felt weak, barely able to carry me back to my desk. I sank into my chair, gripping the edges of my desk as if holding on to something solid could keep me from falling apart completely. Mia, Ryan, and Lucas were just as stunned. None of us spoke for several minutes. The weight of what had just happened settled like a heavy stone in my chest. I had never seen my boss so furious. A lawsuit against the company. Termination inevitable. And the worst part? Ethan had orchestrated it all. My email notification dinged, snapping me out of my trance. I turned to my computer screen and felt my stomach twist. It was a company-wide email. Subject: Mandatory Policy Review, effective immediately. I clicked it open, my hands trembling. To all employees. Due to recent revelations regarding violations of our professional code of conduct, new policies will be implemented immediately. Effective today, all employees are required to complete an online ethics training course by Friday. Failure to comply will result in suspension. Additionally, new security measures will be enforced, including increased surveillance, restricted access to private office spaces, and unannounced checks by management and security staff. Please remember, the integrity of this company is non-negotiable. Management. I swallowed hard. The entire company knew. As if on cue, I heard it. The murmurs, the whispered conversations just low enough that I couldn't make out the words but could feel the judgment radiating off them. Then came the emails. One after another, my inbox flooded with messages from coworkers. Some were disgusted. Some were mocking. Some were outright hostile. You should be ashamed of yourself. Hope it was worth it, slut. Thanks for ruining our workplace. I clenched my jaw, my vision blurring. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to be in control. I was supposed to be the one calling the shots. I was supposed to be the one winning. Mia leaned in close, her expression cold. We need to talk. After work. Bar across the street. I just nodded. I had no energy to argue. The bar was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of whiskey and cheap cologne. Mia, Ryan, Lucas, and I sat in a corner booth, nursing our drinks in silence. Ryan downed his whiskey in one gulp, slamming the glass onto the table. Well, that was a complete disaster. No shit, Lucas muttered, rubbing his temples. I thought we were untouchable. I thought we had time to get ahead of this. I took a slow sip of my wine, staring at the deep red liquid. Ethan planned everything. I finally said, my voice hollow. He didn't just leave. He set this up. He gathered evidence. He built a case against me. And when he left, he made sure I had nothing left standing. Mia scoffed. Oh, come on. So what? He played his little game. You think that means he wins? Men like him always break eventually. He's probably sitting alone somewhere, miserable, regretting this already. I shook my head. No, he's not coming back, Mia. She narrowed her eyes. Sophie, don't you dare start second-guessing yourself. He'll break. They always do. Ryan let out a bitter laugh. Yeah? Tell that to my ex-wife. She's already throwing my shit out of the house. And I can guarantee those divorce papers Ethan sent weren't just for show. He's not coming back. He's erasing her. I flinched at his words. Erasing me. That's exactly what it felt like. I had spent the last few months believing I was the one in control. That Ethan would just accept whatever I decided for our marriage. That he would stay no matter what. But he hadn't. He had left without looking back. And worse, he had taken everything from me when he did. Lucas exhaled sharply. We're screwed. We all know it. Once that lawsuit is settled, we're out. No one's going to hire us after this kind of scandal. Mia rolled her eyes, swirling the ice in her drink. So what? We move on. We find new jobs. People forget scandals eventually. Not this one, I muttered. Silence settled over the table. And then, quietly, I admitted the thing that had been gnawing at me since the moment I realized Ethan was gone. I need to find him. Mia's head snapped toward me, her expression sharp. No, that's the worst thing you could do. I ignored her. I need to talk to him, I said, more to myself than to them. I need to try to fix this. Mia slammed her drink onto the table, her eyes flashing. No, Sophie. You don't chase him. You don't beg him to come back. You wait. You make him come back to you. I shook my head. He won't. You don't understand, Mia. Ethan is different. She let out a sharp laugh. Oh, please. He's just like all the others. He'll be back, Sophie. They always come back. But I wasn't so sure anymore. I thought about the way Ethan had walked out that night, the way he hadn't looked back, the way he had systematically dismantled everything I thought was solid in my life. Ethan wasn't coming back, and I had never been more terrified in my life. I spent the weekend trying to find Ethan. I drove around aimlessly, checking motel parking lots, stopping by every bar I could think of, circling through the neighborhoods of his closest friends. Every time I saw a pickup truck that looked even remotely like his, my heart leapt into my throat. But it was never him. No one would talk to me. His friends, our mutual friends, had all taken his side. The ones who used to laugh with me at barbecues, who used to send me funny memes, who used to call me one of the girls in our group, they wouldn't even return my texts now. Some of them blocked me outright. Others answered just to laugh. Find him, one of them scoffed over the phone. Oh, Sophie, that's hilarious. You didn't care about keeping him before, but now you're desperate to track him down. Another just chuckled darkly before hanging up. The worst part was, I could hear it in their voices. They knew where he was. They were protecting him, and I had no way in. By Monday morning, my eyes were red from lack of sleep, my hands shaking as I clutched a gas station coffee, barely able to keep myself together. But I needed to see Ethan. I needed to fix this. I parked across the street from his office and watched as the employees trickled in, waiting for his truck to pull up. It never did. I waited for an hour, my stomach churning with unease. Ethan was never late to work. Never. Finally, I got out of my car, my legs feeling like they weighed 1,000 pounds as I walked through the front doors. The receptionist looked up, her polite smile faltering the moment she recognized me. I forced a friendly expression. Hey, is Ethan in today? She hesitated. I'm not sure I can say. My pulse spiked. Please, I just need to talk to him. She bit her lip, clearly uncomfortable. Sophie, Ethan's not here. He took a leave of absence. 2 weeks. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. 2 weeks. He had planned this. He had left, knowing exactly what he was doing, and he had no intention of coming back. Not to his home, not to his job, not to me. I gripped the counter to steady myself. Do you know where he went? The receptionist shifted in her chair. I really can't say. Which meant she knew. My breath caught. Please, I just need to talk to him. She hesitated. Then her expression softened with something almost like pity. Sophie, I think you should let him go. I stared at her, my mouth opening slightly, but no words came. Let him go. The phrase rattled inside my skull like a cruel joke. I turned and walked out before I could humiliate myself further. Let him go? I couldn't. I had nothing left without him. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at my phone. Calling him was pointless. He had blocked me. Email. That was my only option. I opened a new draft, my fingers hovering over the keyboard before I started to type. Ethan, I know I don't deserve a response from you. I won't waste time with excuses. I was wrong. I see that now. I should have known better than to think you'd ever accept what I did. I should have known that you, of all people, would never let yourself be treated that way. I don't blame you for leaving. I don't blame you for hating me. But please, I need you to know that I regret everything. I love you. I never stopped. I was just stupid. If there's anything I can do to fix this, tell me. I'll do it. Anything. No limits, no boundaries. If you want me to beg, I'll beg. If you want me to prove myself, I will. I don't care what it takes. I just want to come home. Sophie. I hesitated for only a second before hitting send. And then, I waited. Every few minutes, I refreshed my inbox. Nothing. By the time night fell, my stomach was in knots, my phone screen smudged from where my fingers had tapped at it relentlessly. Then, just before midnight, a notification popped up. Ethan had opened the email. My breath caught in my throat. Seconds passed, then minutes, then an hour. No reply. I swallowed against the ache in my chest, realizing exactly what that meant. He had read it. He knew how desperate I was. And still, he had nothing to say to me. The reality of it settled over me, heavier than anything I had ever felt before. I had lost him. For real this time. 2 years. That's how long it had been since I sent that email. Since Ethan read it and never responded. Since my entire world came crashing down around me. I lost my job 3 months after the lawsuit settled. I never even got a chance to fight it. The company let go of me, Mia, Ryan, and Lucas in one swift, quiet purge. No severance. No references. Just an unspoken agreement that we were blacklisted from ever working in that industry again. Mia had been wrong about everything. Ethan never came back. He never reached out. He never even let me apologize. And yet, I wasn't free of him. Because I still belonged to him. Now, I knelt on the bedroom floor, completely bare except for the cool metal of the chastity belt locked around my waist. My knees pressed into the soft rug as I kept my head bowed, waiting for Ethan to acknowledge me. He sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through his phone, as if I weren't even there. I had learned patience over these 2 years. I had learned that Ethan never rushed anything anymore. He had spent 6 months testing me after I found my way back to him. 6 months making me prove that I was serious when I told him I would do anything to fix what I had done. The first night I returned, I thought I could cry my way into his arms. I had shown up on his doorstep, broken, begging, promising I had changed. He didn't even let me inside. Not until I got on my knees. Not until I proved that I understood the rules had changed. Not until I gave up the last shred of control I had left. And now, this was my life. I had no job, no independence. Ethan had made sure I was entirely his. I belonged to him, and I never questioned it. His voice cut through the silence. Look at me. I lifted my head immediately, my eyes locking onto his. You've been good lately, he said, his tone casual, as if he were commenting on the weather. I might let you wear clothes around the house again soon. I swallowed, nodding. Thank you, I murmured. Ethan smirked. See? You're learning. He reached forward, his fingers tilting my chin up slightly. Do you regret it? He asked, his voice softer now. I knew what he meant. He had asked me the same question 100 times before. And my answer had never changed. Yes. Good, he said simply. He stood, stretching, before glancing down at me one last time. You can go make breakfast now. I nodded, slowly rising to my feet, my body trained to move with precision, never hesitating. As I walked toward the kitchen, the weight of everything pressed down on me. I had thought I was in control once. I had thought I could dictate the terms of our marriage, that I could reshape Ethan into someone who would bend to my will. But he had broken me instead. And the scariest part? I wasn't even sure if I wanted to be free anymore. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that choices have consequences. Real, lasting consequences. I thought I was in control. I thought I could shape my life however I wanted, that Ethan would always be there, waiting, no matter what I did. But love doesn't work like that. Trust doesn't work like that. I destroyed something precious because I was blinded by selfishness. I let myself be influenced by someone who never had my best interests at heart. I convinced myself that I was entitled to more, that I could rewrite the rules of marriage without considering the cost. And in the end, the cost was everything. Looking back, I wish I had valued what I had before it was gone. I wish I had understood that loyalty, respect, and commitment are not things you can play with. That love isn't just about what makes you happy, it's about what you build together. For those who still have love in their lives, cherish it. Don't take it for granted. Respect it. Because once trust is broken, you may never get it back. And if you do, it may not be on terms you recognize or even want.